Hello and welcome to Defense India Podcast. It's a brand new podcast, and I'm your host, Akash. And joining me on the podcast is our expert on internal security when it comes to India, Vicky Nanjappa. Vicky, welcome to Defense India Podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Akash. Extremely excited we're doing this podcast. It's truly
You don't
Atmanirbhar, I would
sound
say.
excited.
Yeah.
So,
So,
as we said in the starting, that this is a podcast where we are going to discuss matters pertaining to India's internal security, but there will be some other matters also that we will be having a lot of discussions about. But starting this podcast, me and Vicky wanted to talk about more on the defense deals, the recent defense deals that India has done, and the quite a shift that India has taken from what the world perceive India as very close to the Russian administration when it comes to arms deals and all. But now India has now started palling to United States and to France also. The Prime Minister, who was very recently in France, did another big deal for Rafale fighter jets, and apart from that, also few submarines are also in the pipeline that India is going to get from France. So, Vicky, I just want to first get your insight about how do you view this? That why is now India now making this big shift from the US from Russia to the United States and France. Now, France being the number third, country from where India will be buying its arms and ammunitions. So, why this shift? And especially, we have seen this major shift during the Narendra Modi government's tenure.
yeah, see, one thing was there, the successive governments in the past have been, too dependent on, other countries, for the defense deal, and especially that over dependence on Russia. But, year on or year and a half on since the Ukraine war, a lot has changed because, not only we are dependent on Russia, but, Russia has started becoming extremely dependent on China. And our borders remain tense, so something like that. And you don't want a situation where one day Russia just starts telling you that we are not going to supply anymore. Okay, there are deals, those things are there. And there's been a solid push by the government for this Atmanirbhar Bharat, where we are manufacturing a lot of weapons, in our out here and things. But considering the amount of challenges we've got, Akash, the thing is, what from Pakistan, from China, and things like that. So while we continue to manufacture, in our in our homeland itself, there is also a need to have defense deals outside. Also, one thing, and that is why that slight push towards America, towards France and things like that, where we are sourcing from them, but with countries like Philippines and Thailand and things like that, we are outsourcing to them. So it's a great mix which is happening, and as just this one, the late CDS. General Bipin Rawat had always said, we are always going to fight a three front war. Okay, that is one thing. That's China, Pakistan, and of course the cyber attacks, which also keep happening. So I think it's a difficult time, no doubt. But this is the kind of push we have to make. While Atmanirbhar is important, we cannot completely just give up on the rest of our partners also.
Right, Vicky, and like you very aptly pointed out, what late CDS General Bipin Rawat also very aptly pointed out that India has to be ready for a war, especially from China and from Pakistan, and with both the countries being palling up with each other for a very long period of time. So that cannot be ruled out in terms of India's internal security and also external security, and the paradigm shift that we were talking about in terms of that, when the prime minister also went to US, so there was a huge discussion about these drone deals taking place, and especially now another new engine that India will be manufacturing, HAL will be manufacturing in collaboration with GE. So how do you view this? That there are a lot of questions being raised as far as India is concerned about the MiG fighter jets, which are very much outdated. I don't think so. Many of the nations across the world are using that. Not even Russia is using that kind of a machinery that what India is using. So how do you view this? That would it somehow make a dent for India in its relationship with Russia as far as arms deals are concerned? That we are going to US signing a deal with them as far as a new engine is concerned?
No, I don't, view it in that way and things like that, because I think the way it is being handled now by our External Affairs Ministry, by our PMO, and our government is that it's pretty balanced, okay? Because Russia is pretty busy with a lot of things. So that is one thing. They have a Ukraine war which is going on. They have their own parameters with China. I think the balance is fine, Akash. The thing is, in today's geopolitics, when you look at it, the thing is, the problem is you can't, just side with one country throughout. Okay, one thing. You need to, strike a balance everywhere. Okay, that is one thing which is very important. So I think the right balance is being made. That's the thing. There's US, there's France. These are things, and China has clearly not been the greatest of neighbors and things like that. And if you look at China's equations with Pakistan and our equations with Pakistan over the years, so when I look at it, that right balance has to be made there. The thing is, I think that proper balance is being struck at the moment. That is not an issue. It shouldn't be a problem. And when you speak about drones and things like that, I mean, you should also look at it in the terms of, the very reason why the post of the CDS was created is about, the theater commands which they had to have. So, you need drones. I mean, in the sense, you need different commands and things like that, because you're fighting a war on many fronts. And geopolitics is changing very, very fast. Okay. While we are part of the BRICS, we are also part of the Quad. That is one thing. So I think there's a fine balance which is being struck. Challenge is immense. There's no doubt about it. So these deals are important. And as I said, earlier that, while Atmanirbhar Bharat and, manufacturing of defense equipment in India is extremely important, but there is also a need to depend on technology, because these things don't happen overnight. You need, a little bit of backing and support. Yeah.
Right, and you said about striking a balance between all the other parties involved in this equation. So, but why was not the previous governments able to strike this kind of a balance? If I must say, uh, if we talk about the UPA governments, defense deals and all those kind of things, we got Augusta Westland scams. We got way back going towards even Rajiv Gandhi Bofor's scam. So all those kind of things happened. But when it came to the Rafale deal here in India, Congress tried to stir up another commotion here, from the parliament to the streets to even to the Supreme Court, saying that there's a lot of discrepancies when it comes to the Rafale deals. But when the Supreme Court ordered an inquiry into it, nothing came out of it. They said there is no any sort of a scam that has happened as far as the Rafale deals are concerned. So my question over here is that why Congress was not able to maintain this kind of a balance, between Russia and then signing some deals with with the United States and some other countries, maybe with Germany, maybe with France or some other countries, as far as signing some new equipment for the country is concerned. Because we've seen that over the we talk about 70 years of Indian independence. If we take away the 10 years out of this whole equation of the Narendra Modi government, then nearly 50 years India haven't got a very major defense deal signed. Why was that?
See, the thing is, it was a very comfortable equation which India had with Russia. We were depending on it that time. I mean, and these MiG fiascos which have happened. I mean, how many of them have crashed and things like that. Okay, but the thing is, I don't think there was this much of external challenge. The thing is, it's a pure majority government after such a long time. That is one. It's a very powerful leader, who actually has a a big say in world politics. That is one thing. So the challenges have increased, and also one more thing is the dynamics have changed. Also, that is one. Okay, infiltrations, China coming in, all these things. That is one thing. Um, I actually don't have a real answer to why they did not do that. That is at that time, but uh, I mean, I think they would know better. Mr. A.K. Antony would know better. He was the defense minister at that time. But here, there's one thing, Akash. The thing is, the government, when it came to power itself, even through all those election rallies which took place, ahead of 2014, the entire focus was always on national security. That is very, very important. Securing the borders and things like that. That was very, very important. Maybe a lot of things happened at that time also before 2014, but nobody spoke about it. That is one thing. But this is pure focus on this. That is defense, internal security. It's very, very important. Otherwise, how come a group like PFI was not banned for so long? That is one thing. I mean, we all know their story since 2006. That is one. So it is a different focus altogether. And also, you look at the national security advisor, which we have. He's also, from the security background. We always had bureaucrats in the past. That is one. Okay. So I think on that front, if you look at it, and the world has changed a lot. China is a growing power. They're trying to compete with the US. That is one thing. Or maybe they are equal in terms of economies, or maybe better and things like that. And then the Russian war is happening. So, we need to keep making those moves there, to try and, strike more defense team. We need drones, Akash. That is another thing. That is one thing. Because the biggest challenge we have today is, the drones coming in from Pakistan and, dropping off drugs, arms, ammunition and things like that. We have huge borders. We have long borders. We have borders across the northeast. We have this one borders, along Ladakh and things like that. So we need drones also. That technology is also very important. It is going to take time, but we need support from outside also. To this one, what is that? To man our borders. And another thing is that you need to reduce manpower also along the borders. So you need technology also for that. That is the thing.
Correct. And Vicky, one more thing, we talked about that how India is, trying to get a lot of more arms and ammunitions in, but surprisingly now India has also become one of the countries who are, also selling out its arms and ammunitions to, if we talk about less fortunate third world countries, which are a little bit more, not that advanced in terms of arms and ammunitions as India, as we talk about Philippines and Thailand. So India has signed a deal for the BrahMos missile, which is one of the biggest staples for India when it comes to ballistic missiles. So how do you view this? That from being one of the biggest buyers in the world, now India is one who is selling this technology to third world countries, making them also enabled in terms of ballistic missiles. And when you talk about ballistic missile, it's not only just about the technology for the missiles. It also helps them in order to make some more rockets for themselves, at least lower orbit rockets, which India has now perfected that technology.
Correct. Actually, that is actually something that is more exciting and things like that. In terms of India's defense technology and things like that. It's like purely when the Prime Minister spoke from Red Fort and spoke about Atmanirbhar Bharat. I see that as a really great push. That is one thing. From just be we were solidly just an importer. That is one thing. Okay, of arms. That is one thing, or defense technology. Now we've started importing. Okay, that is one thing. These are baby steps which you're taking, and then over a period of time, it is going to improve. Okay, um, these smaller countries which you are providing for and things. It's such a good sign, Akash. Actually, in the sense that we are so confident about giving our technology to other countries and things like that. Slowly, I'm very confident that over a period of time that it will move to the bigger countries and things like that. With defense cooperation. We learning technology, we sharing technology and things like that. So over a period of time, it is going to happen. It's going to take some time, but it's great. It's a great start, I would say.
Exactly, it's a great start, and I think we'll try to keep this podcast a little bit more shorter for the people so that they can get even more engaging. And for a great start. I think we'll try to keep it under 15 minutes for our audience. So, Vicky, any parting comments you want to make about the Prime Minister's recent France visit and the US visit?
No, no, they were great steps, Akash. I mean, we did gain a lot in terms of defense technology, considering how geopolitics has become today. That is one thing. It is important, for a prime minister to engage with these superpowers. Basically, that is one thing, because in our backyard we are not exactly having a lot of fun or something like that. There is a Chinese incursion which has happened, which is it is not yet entered. That is one thing. Pakistan always remains a challenge and things like that. And considering bordering states, there is going to be a lot of needling which is going to be done by the bordering countries and all that. So in those terms, I think we need to be seen there. And as we began the podcast, we said Russia's dependency on China has gone up too much at the moment. Okay, while Russia does remain a great ally at the moment, but that over dependency, you will not know how that is going to, churn out to be, or how it is going to shape out this one. So we need to constantly engage, and like unlike earlier regimes, just get stuck to one country and things like that, and then be left out in the race. I think the more the merrier. That's what I would say.
Right, right. Well, on that note, Vicky, thank you very much for joining for the very first episode of Defense India podcast, and to all our viewers for watching this. Thanks for watching, and if you like this kind of a content, please do let us know what are other topics that you want me and Vicky to discuss on Defense India podcast, because this is the podcast of everybody, and with we living in the cyber technology era, I think everybody has a little bit of their say when it comes to India's defense. And I think in the past 10 years, everybody has, become even more vocal when it comes to India's internal and external security. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Vicky, for joining me on Defense India podcast. And thank you, viewers, for joining in.
Thanks, Akash. Thanks for having me. Thank you.